Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the Wednesday edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Thanks for choosing My Media Prime. We're live from the economic capital, Douala, live from Studio 8 of My Media Prime. My name is Gienda Belgian Blanche King, and to begin today's edition of the news, we begin with news from the southwest region, where a reporter says 12 of the 20 people rescued by the military in Wabane, Libya, have been received at the headquarters of the B sector today in Mabanda, Kumba. These persons were freed by the forces of law and order during a confrontation that led to the death of a notorious separatist general Ayeke, who met his Waterloo yesterday. Details in the following report with Tamfu Sidwan Dimbye.
Yes, we are currently at the B Center, that is the headquarters in Mabanda in Kumba 3 subdivision, where some of those who were kidnapped by the separatists in Libya have just arrived here in Mabanda, Kumba 3 subdivision.
From captivity to freedom, these people were rescued and received at the headquarters of the B sector in Mabanda, Kumba 3 subdivision after passing through torture as they were kidnapped in Tali, Manu division, and taken to Bisali in Wabane, Libya Land division.
They knock your door, take you, even if then I would pant, tie you, sellotape your mouth, put you after giving you about 8 slaps with the cutlass on your back. Maybe like me, you see here, the iron gun.
As if that was not enough, they were marked by separatist fighters as an identity if they will stay alive after fulfilling the ransom demanded by the fighters.
You call their boys and they bring very big buttons. Any of you sleep for down, they give you 50 strokes. You look at my leg even, it still swell. Up to now, look at my leg. Even the
in Bisali, Wabane, as they live at the camp of General Daiman for 6 days. On Tuesday, 13 October, was to be their last day if the ransom was not paid.
2 days ago, he came and tell me, say, yesterday, since 2 days ago, the last day, he come from morning time for can kill me. Thank God, military entered that very night. Oh, no.
But as prayerful as they were, the military barged into the General Daiman's camp, where Major General Ayeke and other top Amba generals were taking refuge. The whole area was animated by intense gun battle, which later on ended with Ayeke, who bowed down to the Cameroon elite force, the B.
We don't wake up with prayer. Almost 6 o'clock, we hear how we got the rain. Since Ayeke day, almost 18 meters from the place where we will be there. We hear the call and say they shoot them just for inside that classroom. As we hear they gun them, the military they approach, we hear they gun them. So I say more we shout. So I made the military not say we don't be the Amba soldiers. So we start shouting, oh say coup, venez sauver.
20 of them were rescued. Some were taken to the West region for treatment. Meanwhile, 12 are in Kumba receiving treatment at the headquarters of the B sector in Mabanda. On this day, some items recovered from late General Ayeke were presented to the press in Kumba, Meme division.
Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph Diangote was in Douala for an official visit to evaluate ongoing renovation works at the Douala Autonomous Port and officially inaugurate the giant vessel moored Mandara Island. Sama reports.
Rehabilitation works on the Douala Bonaberi Seaport is rolling on smoothly as appreciated by the Head of Government during his work visit at the port. According to the technicians carrying on the project, the ongoing works at completion will transform the current structure into a modern facility adapted to the evolution of vessel capacities and traffic. According to Cyrus Ngor, Managing Director of the Douala Bonaberi Port, the task is challenging, but with strategies employed, the mission will be successful. The event provided an opportunity for Cyrus Ngor to outline major achievements of the port, which includes the acquisition of a multi-purpose boat to serve in the transportation of buoys from service wharf to predefined geosatellite position in the access channel, as well as the acquisition of nautical equipment. The Sawa chiefs were also present at the event, during which they performed the traditional rituals of blessing the new vessel Mont Mandara, which was officially inaugurated by the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute. The event also saw the award of medals to officials at the Douala Port Authority for their outstanding services and brought together top dignitaries in the country.
The government of Cameroon has announced her determination to regulate the attribution and management of radio frequencies all over the country. A two-day seminar to discuss the implementation of such regulation has opened in Yaoundé, the political capital, where some 50 communication and media professionals are taking part in discussions summoned by the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications. Our reporter Boris Landry-Kwekam was part of the opening ceremony. He compared the following reports.
Journalists and radio proprietors are the most concerned by this seminar taking place at one of the conference rooms of the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications. For 2 days, the close to 50 participants will be drilled on the negative effects of the non-respect of government prescriptions on the attribution of radio frequencies in the country.
We come to realize that the installations of the frequency in our country, the utilizations of the frequency is not done under the rule and regulations that's governing the sector.
In essence, government is planning on creating a special task force which will carry out all necessary actions leading to either the dismantling of non-compliant radio equipment and that of illegal users, or to the regularization of the situation of these users. At the end of the seminar this Thursday, government is hoping that these media practitioners will have vulgarized initiatives geared at the management of the radio spectrum in the country.
We would like to sensitize all the stakeholders to understand the meaning, the importance also of the frequencies in the development of the electronic communications in our country.
Therefore, radio owners should endeavor to tune in to the frequency of compliance so as to avoid the closure of their radio stations.
The remains of a 13-year-old girl has been discovered in Bafoussam West region of the country. Her body covered with bruises, traces of blood and other fluids. The neighborhood, however, accuses the father of the deceased, though he disclaims or he confesses not to be guilty of all these accusations. Audrey Zatsa completes the story in the following reports.
Maman, ton enfant.
This is a case causing a stir in the Tunga neighborhood of Bafoussam. The victim, a 13-year-old girl identified as Aisha, allegedly beaten, raped, and murdered by her own biological father, a bike rider who had separated from his wife years ago. According to a neighbor, he was raping his daughter, then made up stories to defend himself. She recounts the circumstances leading to Aisha's death from what the suspect told her.
Nous avons compris un cri en route, on pensait que c'était l'agression. Nous sommes sortis, moi et ma petite voisine, arrivés en route, nous avons compris que le cri était proche de nous. Nous sommes allés chez le voisin, toquer à sa porte quand il criait. Tungan 2 m'a conditionné, Tungan 2 a donné la poudre jaune à mon enfant. Nous avons toqué la porte, il a ouvert, il nous a dit, maman, le soir j'ai un peu frotté cette petite fille. Elle m'a volé 200 francs. Et la semaine passée, elle m'avait volé 20 000 francs. Mais je l'ai un peu corrigée tout simplement. Je suis sortie, elle était couchée dehors disant qu'elle était fatiguée. Moi-même, j'ai vu qu'elle était fatiguée. J'ai demandé qu'une femme en période menstruelle ne peut pas dormir sans se laver. J'ai lavé ma fille. J'ai porté ma fille à la mettre au lit. C'est tout ce qu'il m'a dit. Et à la maison, la fille a crié, elle a dit, laissez-moi, je ne veux pas partir, je ne veux pas partir. J'ai demandé que tu pars comme ça avec les qui. Elle a cité 2 noms d'élèves de Tunga. C'est ce que le père nous a dit. Elle a cité 2 noms des élèves de Tunga. Et elle enlevait les clous sur la moto, l'ancienne moto pour se déchirer, c'est ce qu'elle a dit. C'est ce qu'il a dit. Il a demandé où sont les 200 francs. Elle a dit c'est déjà parti. Et quand il a dit ça, nous on pensait que l'enfant était couché à la maison, étant vraiment blessé, pas morte. Quand il a déjà dit qu'elle est morte, nous avons pris fuite. Nous sommes sortis, allez ici. J'ai crié, faire sortir le quartier.
In one of the rooms, traces of blood can be seen on the bed where the crime was allegedly committed. The accused has been placed under police custody while investigations by forces of law and order on the circumstances leading to Aisha's death is clarified.
Some schools in Limbe have benefited from learning and teaching materials donated by Voice of the Voiceless, a non-governmental organization, is the new academic year. That's the 2020-2021 academic year, at a time when the country is battling with a socio-political and health crisis. Kumba Norimbom completes the story in the following reports.
Some primary schools and its pupils in Limbe 3 subdivision have received didactic and pedagogic materials from a non-governmental organization known as Voice of the Voiceless, founded by Mr. Kandu Bryce Whitnia, with the aim of supporting the culture of peace and education in Cameroon. Addressing the beneficiaries, the regional coordinator of the Voice of the Voiceless for the Southwest region, Mr. Sakwe Eno, stated that the objectives of the humanitarian gesture is to encourage the schools and its pupils who, for the past years, have been faced with difficulties of effective learning due to the ongoing socio-political crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions. He added that the situation was worsened by the coronavirus pandemic that slowed down the economy of the country, making it difficult for parents to afford learning materials for their children.
I understand that this region has been stricken with the Anglophone crisis that we all know, just like you heard the divisional officer was saying during her speech, that it has been difficult for parents to meet with their children's school needs. So this gift from His Majesty King Raboni I is going to go a long way to support the parents, encourage the children and the school to teach these children and to run the academic year. To also remind you, we did not only bring things for the children, we equally brought for the schools and for the teachers. So that is our main objectives here today.
On her part, the divisional officer for Limbe 3 subdivision congratulated the kind gesture of the donors for choosing Limbe 3 subdivision. She called on other humanitarian organizations to follow the example of Voice of the Voiceless, to reach out to those children and parents who cannot afford going back to school for the ongoing academic year. The materials comprised of school bags, readers, exercise books, pens, pencils, rulers, dusters, chalks, just to name but these few. The beneficiaries were happy with the gifts and promised to put them in good use. The divisional officer for Limbe 3 subdivision, however, congratulated teachers for their resilience and selfless sacrifices in the past years to make sure that schools in Limbe 3 subdivision went operational.
In sports, Boya United Football Club has suffered a narrow 1-0 loss in the hands of Union Sportive of Douala at the ongoing Fair Play tournament, which took place in Douala. Sportsman Fabrice Kendinga has the rest of this sports package.
It was a palatable encounter played in front of over 800 spectators at the Sikam Stadium in Douala, with Union Sportive of Douala narrowly defeating Southwest Regional League side Boya United Football Club by 1-0 in the second day of play at the ongoing Fair Play tournament taking place here in Douala. A clash between Goliath and David, with both sides controlling in each half of the cracker. Union Sportive of Douala, the Nazara Kamakai, break the deadlock at the 26th minute of play through a header from Zana Ronald, which eventually became the lone goal of the game. Elameheve missed two glaring opportunities for the home side at the close of half-time as the call line situation remained the same. At recess time, Coach Agbo Emmanuel of Boya United told his players to attack in confidence And when the second half resumed, the Mountain Boys mounted pressure on Union Sportive of Douala, which almost paid off following an experienced move from Galame Clovis 20 minutes into the second half, but Sonny George failed to put the ball at the back of the net with an empty pole. Though with series of changes for both sides, the scoreline situation remained 1 for the home side and 0 for Boya United. To the coach of the 5-time Elite One champions, it was a good game.
It was a good game, and we can only continue to do like that because today morning we trained, yesterday we trained, so that the result is not what we are looking for. The most important one is to see how our player with all this training session, they behave themselves.
On his part, the coach of Boya United says they were in a learning process.
We are here to learn, and we are learning. It's a gradual process. If you see the kind of players I have, they are very young. All I want is time so that they will learn, know the things to do and the things not to do, so that we can have a good match maybe when the regional league starts.
The president of Boya United Football Club hailed his boys in spite of defeat.
It was a very good game, and we've learned a lot. We can see that an elite team is an elite team. We are still in the regional league, and I believe us conceding just a goal, and we also had our chances, means we can take some good things from this game.
The president of Boya United Fans Club noted that such a result for them is an achievement.
As a fan club is concerned, we are very confident with the squad we have this season. I'm sure I am guaranteeing every supporter of Boya United that we are making the mini Interpol this season.
Union of Douala has carried the day by 1-0, beating Boya United Football Club of Boya in this much anticipated game.
Thanks, Fabrice Keninga. With that sports report, we end today's edition of Prime News on My Major Prime. Thanks for being a part. Join us tomorrow at 6:30, God willing, for another edition of Prime News on My Major Prime. My name is Genda Pelgian Blanche King. The news was produced by Ewane Airline Olinga, coordinated by Faith Tata. Stay tuned to My Major Prime at 7 p.m. Prime Hour will be live. Good night. Enjoy the rest of your evening.